Hey guys, this is Jacob, aka Entendre. Today I'm going to show you how to make some Squelchy psi gated patterns using Serum. So, without further ado, this is what the sound is going to be like in the end. Let's get started. Then I just grab the analog basic shapes, and I'm just going to go ahead and go to this very narrow pulse wave, and you'll hear what that sounds like here. Now it's really gritty. The lower you go, you're going to hear every little nuance of this waveform looping around. Or I can go even lower. So it gets really extreme there. Now, yeah, it's just a clicking at a certain point, but you can assign an LFO to control the coarse pitch here. And then I'm going to hold Option and Shift to make it unidirectional. Well, click on it and it makes it unidirectional. And then that will change the pitch based on this LFO over time. I'm going to switch this to envelope. Then I go ahead and turn on legato and mono, and always turn this up a little bit just for fun. And let's hear what that sounds like. So you can hear you can get some gritty stuff in the lower octaves. I'm going to go ahead and turn the filter on, and we're going to choose bandpass 24 and assign it to the same LFO. I'm going to go ahead and reverse the direction of it and move this around like so. Let's hear what that sounds like. Now the frequency is going to be moving the opposite direction of the pitch, so it's going to create an interesting effect. I'm going to go ahead and hold Option and Shift and click on this again to make it unidirectional. So that's kind of fun. That's some cool squelchy sounds there, and then you can raise that up several octaves and get some different type effects. And then we've got, I'm going to go ahead and go to LFO 2 and create a little bit of a pattern here. Oops. And then I drag this over to the volume and automate it like so. So it's going to cut in and out now. And then I put this to trigger mode so that this will keep looping around. I'm going to assign the second macro to the rate here, and I'm going to adjust the range so that when it's at the bottom, it's at a reasonable speed, and same with the top. So yeah, you can play with the speed there with the macro now, which is fun. I can also add some voices of unison here, and that can give it a nice fat sound. And we can turn on this second oscillator. Also go to basic shapes, and we're going to use a sine wave and turn down the volume because we're just using it as a carrier for this FM from B. And now if I turn this up, it's going to modulate the sound with this waveform. So it sounds like this. And I'm going to turn on trigger here so that this keeps looping as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and slow it down to 8 bars and create like a pattern in here. But I'm going to smooth these out. So this is just the pitch and filter pattern. I want it to be smooth for most of it. I'm just experimenting here. Let's hear this. All right, let's turn that off there. All right, I'm going to make that a little faster. So you can see you can get some fun patterns if you start automating that rate of the gated pattern. Another thing I like to do is drag the second LFO or the first macro onto the second LFO actually no, what I do is I go in here to the matrix editor. And right here you can see LFO2 is assigned to the volume. I set as an auxiliary source macro 1. And now, if I turn up macro 1, you'll hear the gated pattern. If I turn it down, you hear nothing. The reason for that is it's a auxiliary source now. So when I turn it down, it's turning down the volume. I turn it up, it's turning up the volume. But what you can do is invert the pattern, the gated pattern, and invert the volume here and pull this down, pull the range down, like so. And now, when it's up, it will be the gated pattern. And when it's down, it'll just be dry. So you can play with different octaves here for different results as well. So yeah, I hope that gave you some ideas of some cool stuff you can do with squelchy sounds and gating patterns in Serum. And so yeah, until next time, I'm Antandra. Have a good one. Check out my music. Peace.